We just got some brand new clues about the upcoming episodes of the amazing digital circus, and what I've found is quite shocking. Glitch came out with new merch a few days ago, and they reveal some pretty interesting details which might foreshadow how the next episodes will play out. Obviously, the most important question to the majority of the fandom is who will abstract next. And we had all kinds of guesses thanks to Gooseworks' Tumblr answers, but this time we might actually have a real answer. On the official Glitch store, we can see this picture of a Ragatha cardigan with the text next to it being, "When you reach your breaking point, something terrible can happen." And this is a quote from Ragatha herself from episode 1.
When you reach your breaking point, something really terrible can happen.
But why would they use a quote from episode 1 when the show has 4 episodes already? I'm thinking that there's definitely a reason for using this specific quote from Ragatha for the merch, and especially because if we look through the other images, we can find this one. Jax and Ragatha being connected with the red thread obviously means that we're gonna see these two being in the center of episode 5 and 6, but if we look at the arrangement, we can only guess that this probably hints at something deeper. Jax sitting up, smiling, while Ragatha is out on the floor. I'm pretty sure that there's a very good reason for why they decided to take a picture like this of the characters. And if you think about it, it would make perfect sense if Ragatha would be the one abstracting in the next episodes. Maybe not as early as episode 5, since Gooseworks said about episode 5 that it's gonna be the silly before the storm, but maybe in episode 6 then. Also, when Gooseworks was asked whether Ragatha is gonna be okay after episode 5 or not, she simply dodged answering. I'm getting more and more sure that even despite how we saw Jax's more vulnerable side in episode 4, we still can't really expect good things from him in the next episodes. His story is probably not black and white, and it wouldn't make sense to call him straight up evil, but he's not a good person either. We will probably learn more about his backstory, like how he ended up in the circus and how the circus changed him, if it did. And yeah, it will probably explain lots of things about him, but I'm sure that there's a good reason why Gooseworks said that Jax deserves to be in the circus and that he's a pathetic loser, and all that kind of stuff. Gooseworks also said that we're gonna see the worst thing Jax has done with our own eyes, so maybe it is indeed gonna be him abstracting someone, and based on this merch picture, I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be Ragatha. But we also have to mention that Ragatha is also not one-dimensional. She obviously has her problems, but she's not entirely a saint. We saw a glimpse of her more honest version in episode 4, and I'm thinking that episode 5 will discover this side of her even more. When somebody asked Gooseworks about Ragatha, whether she's actually nice or she's just faking it, Gooseworks said, "Everything is likely more complicated than a simple black or white answer." And so what I'm thinking is that these two characters will bring out the worst versions of each other, and they will both hurt each other. The only question is who will break first. But based on everything we know and what we figured out so far, my money is on Ragatha, and that something will definitely happen to her. And by something, I mean she could abstract. Or maybe she'll only start to abstract, but somebody could save her. Maybe Pomni, cause after all, these two also have a pretty interesting relationship, which started in episode 1 after Pomni left Ragatha behind, after Kaufmo beat her up, but then Ragatha never said anything to Pomni, and she just acted like nothing happened. But in episode 4, we could see that she was kinda jealous that Pomni was with Gummigoo instead of the circus members. But maybe if Ragatha was actually abstracting in episode 5 or 6, Pomni could show that she's really there for her now, which would also show how far they have come as characters. But moving on, there's another interesting thing I saw on the Glitch website, and it's this shirt. And yeah, we could argue that maybe they have another item with Gummigoo because of his appearance in episode 4, but based on the Ragatha cardigan, I'm thinking that this might foreshadow that Gummigoo will return in the next episodes. I mean, it would make sense based on this.
You know, he might be back in a future adventure. I know Kane sometimes likes to reuse NPCs.
And we already saw that he returned once, so why not bring him back again in the future? And this would actually be a pretty interesting plot twist if he would return and somehow remembered Pomni again. We know that in episode 4, Pomni was pretty disappointed because Gummigoo couldn't seem to remember her, but when Pomni said his name,
"But it's Gummigoo. Can't the job wait a bit?"
we could see that he was surprised that Pomni knew him. And after all, he became self-aware in episode 2, so it wouldn't be weird if it happened again. But that would definitely mess with Pomni's mental state, because in the last episode, even though it was pretty hard for her, but it seemed like she managed to let him go. So then, if in episode 5 or 6, Pomni sees him again, and this time he will remember her, it would again get Pomni's hopes up, only to get slapped in the face again when Kane deletes him again after the adventure ends. But maybe this this time Pomni could be more careful, and maybe she learned from her mistake of getting too attached this soon. But yeah, the Gummigoo shirt is definitely interesting, and obviously I'm only guessing that he could return since we have literally zero news about episode 5 as of now. The trailer for the first part of the series was really good, because then we had something to go back to, and in the trailer we could also see what kind of NPCs we'll see in the episodes. But now I don't know if they're gonna introduce new ones, bring back the familiar ones, or maybe they could also focus on already abstracted characters, and maybe you could learn more about them instead of introducing new NPCs in every episode. Based on how Goosework shared this list on who we're gonna focus on in each episode, we could guess that maybe the "we have to wait and see" answer suggests that these will be about long abstracted characters. It would definitely make sense to see them in the form of a flashback episode or something, especially now that Queenie was also introduced and got a story. It would be nice to see her in her original chess piece form with Kinger and the other already abstracted characters. And maybe Ragatha was also there, cause we know that she was the second one to join the game after Kinger, at least out of the current Circus members, so maybe it's also possible that the next episode will have a small flashback sequence about Ragatha's first day in the circus. And then we could also see the older characters in their original forms. And this would definitely be interesting to see, but maybe this will only come later. And in the next 2 episodes we'll only see some more NPCs. They would fit into the Colosseum adventure, especially if it's gonna be sports themed. And even if the circus members will form the 2 groups that would play against each other, they still need an audience, so maybe the mannequin NPCs will be back in this episode as well. We will see. But I'm wondering if we're gonna get a trailer for episode 5 soon, because we are 3 months after episode 4 released, and we also know that the animation process started in January, and so based on how Glitch's animation team could have grown, I'm guessing that they probably could be at the end of the animating process, which means that there are still a lot to do. For example, finalizing the lighting and rendering, and also the complete sound design. So even though there must be a lot of people working on the show, I'm thinking that we'll probably only get the trailer for either the next episode or the whole second part of the season around April the earliest. And if I had to guess, I would probably say that episode 5 could come out around May the earliest. I know how complex of a job animating is, especially since Glitch is also working on 2 other shows at the moment, The Gaslight District and Knights of Guinevere. But I also think that Glitch and Gooseworks probably want to get the next episodes of the Amazing Digital Circus out as soon as possible, because it wouldn't really make sense to drag it out too long, because that way the show could simply lose its momentum. But let me know what you think about the news down in the comments. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.